Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan here today with another video, and today we're going to be sorting the zodiac signs into Harry Potter houses. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to use both the sun sign and then the midheaven sign to sort the sun and the midheaven into Hogwarts houses. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if we think about Harry Potter and the sorting hat, the reason the sorting hat chooses certain students to belong to certain houses is not really because of the students, personality, their characteristics, but it's really about the student's choice of where they want to go. Whatever choice they make, the sorting hat will put them there. And so the thing here is that the midheaven sign is what we aspire to become in this life. It's our higher calling, it's our higher purpose in this life. And so it fits very well with why I would do it this way. And the sun is not necessarily the sun sign is not necessarily what you're born in and you just are, but you sort of become your sun throughout your life consciously. You develop the qualities and the characteristics of your sun. And so I'll be sorting, each of the sun signs into each of the Hogwarts houses based on the qualities and the traits of the sun sign. But I'll be sorting the midheaven into each of the Hogwarts houses according to the higher aspirations, the higher vibrations of each of the midheaven signs. So before we get started, I want to go through each of the Hogwarts houses in Harry Potter, and I want to tell you of course, the most basic fundamental, qualities for each of the houses that we all know according to Harry Potter. But I also want to tell you the philosophy or the fundamental principle that underlies each of the Hogwarts houses, which, it's not really obvious if you were only to watch or read Harry Potter, but it does reveal itself once I did a little bit more research into J.K. Rowling's philosophy behind each of these Hogwarts houses. And it's really important that I tell you guys this because I'll be using some of these information while I'm sorting the zodiac signs into the houses, if you see what I mean. Okay, so first let's have a look at Gryffindor. So on the more surface level, we all know that Gryffindors can be known as, brave, daring, having some nerves and chivalry. But the underlying sort of philosophy behind the Gryffindor house is to do the right thing and have the determination to do the right thing, to become a heroic moral person and lead other people. The chivalry behind Gryffindor house has a lot to do with being a modern knight. You know how the knights have there's a knightly code of honor. The Gryffindors are the modern knight who follows certain moral codes of conduct. They take pride in the strength of the community and of helping, their friends and their loved ones. But of course, there is this arrogance to the Gryffindor because sometimes they are just brave for bravery's sake. They act first, think later, and so they can sometimes be a little bit not so smart, if you know what I mean. And the Phoenix, Dumbledore's pet, Fawkes the Phoenix, is a representation of some of the qualities of Gryffindor as well. And as we all know, what the Phoenix does is that it dies and that it rises from the ashes. So there is this deeper layer to the Gryffindor philosophy that even through hardships, even through traumas, the Gryffindors have a strength and a willpower to rise back up from any difficulties, especially if that difficulty has a lot to do with standing up against evil. They have the determination to take that which makes them stronger. The griffin, which is the animal of the Gryffindor, symbolizes taking higher values and taking actions from those higher values. In order to be a Gryffindor, the idea is that you have to want it badly enough, and then you can be in Gryffindor. So there's this really strong willpower and determination associated with this house. So when it comes to the Slytherin house, as we all know, words that will describe the Slytherin will be, resourcefulness, cunning, and determination, and maybe even a little bit selfish. But the philosophy behind the Slytherin house is that because Slytherins are self-absorbed and so self-interested, they have the ability to be able to gain mastery over their craft. And the motivation for gaining mastery over their craft is because they want power. They want a certain amount of importance that comes from achieving greatness in the society, from having money, from having prestige, and from attaining certain social status within the society. And so the Slytherins will carry out their ambitions with a calm, cool, and collected, level-headed nature. They will be logical about it because they will plan with strategy for the long term. They think before they act, unlike the Gryffindors. And you know, because they have strategy and they plan, therefore they become very resourceful, and they can be single-minded as well. They do have a certain amount of envy within them, you know, when other people are achieving more than they do, because they really do work hard to get, you know, their ambitions fulfilled. They have this sense then where they can be image conscious. The potions class is a symbol for Slytherin because it requires the art of, you know, simmering together carefully chosen ingredients, being purposeful, precise, and patient. Now, Professor Snape himself, you know, is good and bad, right? In Slytherin, as well as Draco Malfoy, he's good and bad. There's two sides to the Slytherin, and that's why the snake is a symbol for the Slytherin, because if we think about the venom of a snake, it can kill you, but it can also be used in Harry Potter as medicine. So there's two sides to it. Therefore, the underlying fundamental principle behind the Slytherin house, the philosophy there, is duality, is learning to combine two different elements together, like potions, like anything else in Slytherin, and find a balance there, merge them into one. For the Hufflepuff house, of course, you know, the typical words that would describe Hufflepuff is decency, goodness, loyalty, and fair-mindedness and just. But the sort of philosophy behind the Hufflepuff house is to be good and be decent even when no one's looking, even if you'll never get recognition for it. So these people, these Hufflepuff people, the people who belong in Hufflepuff, are really just good for good's sake. And, you know, that's actually real, authentic integrity. So if you look at Cedric Diggory, you know, who belongs to Hufflepuff, you know, he was chosen for the Triwizard Tournament because he's one of the best students at Hogwarts, yet he dies at the end of the movie. So he sort of, you know, is good, but is being taken advantage of. He's sort of being overpowered and taken advantage of by the cruel, you know, lust, power-hungry people in the world. And that's kind of the dynamic that goes on, you know, with being a Hufflepuff. Is sort of being this martyr or being this victim type of a person. You know, they have empathetic humanity. They really feel for the people in general, and they will put family over their own pride. There's also a side to the Hufflepuff where, you know, they're very optimistic and very friendly because of the sort of, you know, Zen-like, I think they even have like more like a Zen-like nature about them. They would totally, you know, understand, you know, meditation and things like that. So they're always, you know, satisfied with the simple things in life, and therefore they're always looking the glass, seeing the glass as being half full. They have a certain cheerfulness, a sunny side to them, and they feel like if they are going to, you know, walk on this journey of life, they can succeed just by having friends and family on their side. And therefore they're very nurturing, very giving to people, very down to earth, very loving kind of a vibe to them. But you know, the ultimate deeper philosophy of the Hufflepuff house is to be able to see the deeper things that matter, the deeper things underneath the forms of society. That is the true intention of the Hufflepuff house, because it's not really about other people seeing how good you are. It's really about being good deep from the inside, even though it doesn't matter what it looks like on the surface. And they also believe in fair-mindedness and that everybody should be treated equally. So that is the Hufflepuff. And when it comes to Ravenclaw, you know, we tend to think of the word smart, brainy, studious. But if we really look at it, you know, of course, a lot of people will think, oh, you know, why is Hermione Granger one of the smartest students at Hogwarts maybe. Why is she not in Ravenclaw then? Well, because Ravenclaw really gets you to question what it really means to be smart, and that is the philosophy behind Ravenclaw, is to question what is intelligence. And if we really question what intelligence is, we'll see that Hermione Granger is really actually not as intelligent as we may think. Because to really be smart and intelligent means to be able to think in alternative ways, is to be able to think more deeply about life and to be able to follow your mind where it takes you, even if that means to be a nonconformist. And of course, Hermione is not that. It is to consider what most people would think is weird or outlandish or odd, because thinking about those things will expand your mind, and that is true smarts, true intelligence. So Ravenclaw, so to really be smart then means to be original, be imaginative, have complex, ever-shifting ways of thinking, even being quirky and moony. And yes, of course, being a bit odd. But the philosophy here is that the smartest people out there think outside the box, and they go beyond what the society already assumes to be fitting certain categories. It is to get to the truth beneath the surface. You know, divination and charms are the two classes where the teachers, the professors are Ravenclaws, and in charm, in divination, we are looking into the future and we are seeing the possibilities of the future, and we're seeing things that we can't see right now. And in charms, we're not changing the qualities of objects, but we are giving a spin to it. So at the end of the day, the Ravenclaws just value wisdom for its own sake. They also have a certain amount of emotional intelligence, and the animal that symbolizes the Ravenclaw is the eagle, because ultimately, the philosophy behind Ravenclaw is freedom of thinking and the freedom to be yourself and the freedom to let people be themselves. The freedom to learn and to develop. So, alright, now on to the fun part, which is sorting the zodiac signs into each of these houses. So we're going to start off first with the Aries. So when it comes to the Aries sun, of course the qualities that is associated with the Aries sun is, impulsive and spontaneous and sort of having the willpower to go after what you want in life. So if we're talking about the sun in Aries, I would definitely think that they would be in Gryffindor, just because, like I said before, if you want to be in Gryffindor, you have to want to be in Gryffindor enough to be in Gryffindor, and that's very Aries. When it comes to the Aries midheaven, I would think, at the higher level of the Aries vibration, when it comes to the midheaven, this is all about having the willpower, again, to look deeper into yourself and to know who you are and assert that into the world. To have the strength to be yourself and to keep going. To keep going, to keep going, to keep going. So actually, I think that when it comes to the midheaven, I would also say that the Aries would be in Gryffindor as well, just because of that. When it comes to the Taurus, so the sort of qualities or the characteristics of Taurus is, of course, to be, very good with money, to be sensual, and to sort of be very loyal as well. So it was really hard for me to choose, but when we're talking about just the normal qualities or traits of a Taurus, I would think that they would belong in Slytherin house because of the way that they're calm, collected, and then they approach things in that manner. A lot of Tauruses are ambitious and they do strive to achieve success. A lot of them master their craft. A lot of Tauruses out there are, artists, or they produce some kind of crafts like, cooking or art, and they work very carefully to become a master of that. So I would definitely think it would be Slytherin. When we raise the vibration of the Taurus higher to the midheaven level, we're now looking at somebody who can look beyond the forms. When it comes to soul astrology, Taurus is the light bringer, because Taurus, at the base level, it's about when you create a work of art, you've got to put forms together. You've got to put compositions and forms. But what is actually beyond that? The soul. What is the soul beyond the artwork? So when we're thinking about the soul beyond all the forms, we're definitely thinking of the philosophy behind the Hufflepuff house, like I mentioned earlier. So therefore, with the Taurus midheaven, it's really about looking beyond what's there in front of you and just being good, just doing good, bringing the light to people by being good. That's what's the goodness that's beyond the form. It's the inner beauty, the inner goodness. So now we're talking about the Gemini. So when it comes to the qualities and the traits on the surface level of the Gemini sun, this would be, you know, being very intelligent, being very smart, and sort of even having a split personality even, but just being a very busy person and having a lot to do in their lives every day. So I would think that for Gemini suns, I would sort them into Ravenclaw because, of course, you know, as we all know, the traits of the Ravenclaw is being smart, being intelligent, and exploring the world, gaining new information and getting new knowledge. But when we raise the Gemini vibration higher to the midheaven level, what the Geminis are really doing here in this world is to be able to understand the duality of things. As we know, Gemini has like a split personality, right? That Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, that's very Geminian, very Gemini-like. And so the Geminis really understand duality. They can like something and hate something, and they understand why it's possible to like and hate something. What's the sort of balance there? So therefore, I would sort the Gemini midheaven into the Slytherin house, because as I mentioned earlier, if we look at Malfoy or Snape or the venom of the snake, the underlying philosophy behind the Slytherin house is to understand duality. The yin and the yang, two things that complement each other. Onto the Cancer. This one's really hard for me to sort, but when I really look at the Cancers in terms of their personality and their traits, I really see Cancers as having sort of emotional intelligence, of being imaginative yet nurturing, but being creative and having a sense of intuition about them. So at the more sun level, I would sort the Cancer suns into the house of Ravenclaw, because as I mentioned earlier, there's this kind of emotional intelligence with the Ravenclaw, as well as being imaginative, creative, and, you know, Cancer is ruled by the moon. And if we look at the opposite, you know, side of Cancer, that's Capricorn, that's ruled by Saturn, that's very structured, that's like sort of, Saturn is very much ingrained in the expectations of the society. And if the moon is opposite of that, the qualities of the moon is very changeable, but at the same time, it just wants to be itself. It's changing, it's fluid, according to who it is at certain moments of the day. So that's why. But if we're raising the vibration of the Cancer higher to the midheaven level, we're really seeing at the midheaven level that the Cancers are here to give and receive love and adoration. They're here to not only, you know, love themselves, but they're here to give love to the world within the work that they do. And because of that, they, I would definitely sort the Cancer midheaven into Hufflepuff. Because like I said, they really value, you know, friendship and family over their own pride. And even when they're working with other people, they treat the people they work with like family with the Cancer midheaven. So that's why. So now we're talking about the Leo. So of course, when it comes to the more, you know, surface level traits of a Leo sun, which would be prideful and creative and noble and loyal, they would definitely be sorted into the Gryffindor house, because like I mentioned earlier, you know, the philosophy behind the Gryffindor house is to have a moral code of conduct, is to be the hero, is to have chivalry and bravery, and that's all very Leo. And besides, Harry Potter is in Gryffindor and he's a Leo, so we got that. But if we raise the Leo energy to a higher vibration, to the midheaven level, ultimately what the Leo midheaven is here to do is to be themselves and empower others to be themselves, to bring out others' self-expression in a very creative way. That's what the Leo midheavens are here to do. And because of that, I would sort Leo midheavens into Ravenclaw, because as I mentioned, you know, the eagle is the symbol for the Ravenclaw, and it symbolizes the freedom to be, the freedom to think outside the box and be yourself. And so therefore, that's what we got going for the Leo midheaven. Now when it comes to the Virgo, so at the more surface level characteristics and qualities of the Virgo sun, you know, Virgo suns are very humble people. They're very modest. They like to serve and help other people. They're also very intelligent and very smart. So I would definitely sort them into Hufflepuff. Because of that, you know, Virgo's what's the 6th house. It's the house of service, practical daily service without requiring anything in return. And that's very Hufflepuff. Now, if we raise the Virgo vibration to the higher level, we have a very more, shall we say, even a higher level of self-sacrifice. We have a self-sacrifice that is done even more like a sort of having this energy of being the mother of the world even. You know, when you think of the triquetra symbol, you've got the mother, the maiden, and the crone. 3 feminine symbols of the world. We've got this very mother energy. So we're giving, we're loving, and we're being sacrificial in terms of these 3 energies. And so with Midheaven in Virgo, I would still consider them to be sorted into Hufflepuff. Because as I mentioned, you know, the Hufflepuff is just, I think it's just pure Virgo energy, where they are going to do good just for the sake of doing good, and they never ask for anything in return. And that's why sometimes they can be put in the positions of victims or martyrs, but they're still gonna do good. Now when it comes to the Libra, in terms of the Libra sun, sort of the qualities and the traits of the Libra is of course going to be achieving harmony and relationships and appreciation of the beauty and the arts and justice and fairness. So I definitely think I would sort the Libras into Hufflepuff, because remember, there's this other side to the Hufflepuff that's all about treating people the same, quality and fairness and justice, because that's really what a good person does. They treat everybody equally the same. Now when we raise the Libra energy to a higher vibration, to the midheaven level, yes, we've got the energy of knowing about right relationship. So knowing the relationship between you and another person, noticing the relationship between 2 people together, noticing the relationship between your lower self and your higher self. So we've got this relating between 2 things, which then again makes me think of the Slytherin house, and that's where I would sort them when it comes to the Libra midheaven people, because like I said, you know, this is almost kind of a similar energy to the Gemini midheaven, whereas the Gemini midheaven is about the duality. But now when we get to the Libra midheaven, we've combined the 2 dualities together, 2 opposing things together, and we're seeing how they are related to each other. And we're working through harmonious relationship between 2 things that may not even seem to ordinary people as being related at all. And so therefore I would sort the Libra midheaven into the Slytherin house. Now when it comes to the Scorpio, so the sun, at the sun level, the traits of the Scorpio is of course, you know, mysterious, ambitious, you know, powerful, strong, being able to overcome traumas and things. So at the sun level, I would definitely put them into the Slytherin house, because as I mentioned before, the Slytherins have a way of achieving their ambition by being, you know, by having strategy and resourcefulness. And as we all know, you know, Scorpio rules the 8th house, which is the house of shared resources. So there's these abilities in both the Slytherin and the Scorpio to kind of get money, get resources from different places in order to achieve what they want. Now, when we raise the energy of the Scorpio to a higher level, we get to the midheaven level. So with the Scorpio midheaven, it's really all about transformation. It's really all about being able to go very deep into yourself, into your psychology, and overcoming and using the strength of who you really are deep inside to overcome any obstacles in your life. And if you can do that, then you fully become transformed. So it's going from taking your pain and running with it and letting it overrun you, to being able to control your own pain and have strength because of the pain. So with this, I really think that the Scorpio midheavens would belong in the Gryffindor house, because I mentioned earlier, the Gryffindor house is really all about transformation as well, because of the phoenix that is the pet of Albus Dumbledore. And the phoenix rises from the ashes. The phoenix is a representation of being reborn, of standing up, especially in the face of evil. So whatever evil that's been done, the Scorpio midheaven is really all about overcoming that. controlling that rather than having it control them and then being reborn from that. So therefore I would sort the Scorpio midheaven into Gryffindor. The Sagittarius. So at the more sun level, characteristics and traits of the Sagittarius sun, that would definitely be, a love of freedom and expansion and, seeking for higher truths. And that's all very Ravenclaw. So I would definitely sort the Sagittarius sun into Ravenclaw because, like I mentioned, the eagle that symbolizes the Ravenclaw house is all about freedom to be, freedom to go anywhere you want, freedom to think anything you want. And the ability of the Ravenclaw, remember that I said about being able to extract the truth from beneath the surface of things. That's very Ravenclaw, so therefore Sagittarius would definitely be in Ravenclaw. But if we raise this energy to a higher vibration, to the Sagittarius midheaven level, what the Sagittarius midheaven is really here to do is to be able to have vision, is to take that bow and arrow and to shoot it in one direction and to go after it. Kind of similar to the Aries midheaven. But the Aries midheaven has a lot more to do with instinct, like going for it because of your instinct. But with the Sagittarius, it's going with the vision. And so I would definitely sort the Sagittarius midheaven into Gryffindor because, like I said, if you want to be in Gryffindor, the only thing you have to do is to want to be in Gryffindor. And so if you have a vision and you follow through with the vision, then you're definitely a Gryffindor. And of course, Gryffindors also have a heart of gold, and the Sagittarius kind of has heart of gold. They want to be very generous and just help people, support everybody and encourage everybody that comes along their way. So now it comes to the Capricorn. When it comes to the Capricorn sun, we see the qualities and the traits of being ambitious, having the strength to overcome obstacles and to reach, the higher, to climb the ladder and get to a higher position in your career, in the society. We also see, having Saturn rules Capricorn, and Saturn is all about time, persistence, being patient. So I would sort the Capricorns into the Slytherin house, the Capricorn suns, because like I said, the Slytherin house is really all about having that strategy to pursue an ambition and a goal, to be very calm, collected, cool, and logical in order to achieve your goals. If we raise the Capricorn energy to a higher level, higher vibration, to the midheaven level, we have someone who sees the mountain in front of them, gets to the top of the mountain, but then looks down and never forgets the people below, never forgets to help the people below. So therefore, I'm going to sort the Capricorn midheaven into the Hufflepuff house, because like I said, the Hufflepuff will always think of the people, their people, before anything else. And at the highest level, the Capricorn midheaven is here to make a contribution, even though they may not get any recognition in return. Just because they know of the importance of getting to the top of the mountain, and they want other people to be able to get there as well. Now when it comes to the Aquarius, so the Aquarius sun, the characteristics and the traits on the surface level of the Aquarius sun is, of course, being independent, being a nonconformist, being very friendly, and working with groups of people. So this definitely makes the Aquarius sun belong in Ravenclaw. Like I said, the Ravenclaw house is the house of intelligence, but real intelligence comes from being a nonconformist, from allowing your mind to wander and you just go along with it, and from being, allowing yourself to be quirky and be a bit of a weirdo and not care what people are going to think about you. So that's definitely very Aquarius. Now, when we think of the Aquarius midheaven, when we raise this Aquarian energy to a higher vibration, we think of someone who is going to want to progress society because they see that everyone in the society, even though they're different, they are one. And they will always want to treat everybody as an equal because they understand the unity within the diversity. So I would sort the Aquarius midheaven into the Hufflepuff house, because like I mentioned, the Hufflepuff house, the philosophy behind it is to treat everyone as an equal. That's why the Hufflepuff house does not want to even be known for the things that they do for humanity. And like I said, they also have this sort of empathetic humanity. And so the Aquarius midheaven definitely has that. They care for people and they care for the environment and the animals, and that's very Hufflepuff. Now it comes to the Pisces. When it comes to the Pisces sun, at the more surface level qualities of the Pisces sun, we definitely see them as being, you know, people who are very compassionate. Of course, they have a bit of an artistic soul, but they kind of drift along in life. They go with the flow of life, and they are moved by the simple things in life, like a walk in nature along the beach and things like that, because they just float along. And so therefore I would sort the Pisces sun into the Hufflepuff house, because like I mentioned, you know, the Hufflepuff really enjoys the simple things in life because they have a Zen attitude about them. And I definitely think that the Piscean nature has a very Zen attitude about them as well. So that's why. Now, if we were to raise the Pisces energy to a higher vibration, to the Pisces heaven, to the Pisces midheaven level, we've got someone who is willing to sacrifice themselves for people. So this can mean that they are willing to be seen, where they're willing to do things that may be odd or crazy or weird, and may have people view them as being odd or crazy or weird, but they're willing to do it because they know the truth. Neptune rules illusion, but Neptune also rules truth. Because they know the truth, in order to heal the pain of the society, they have to become the pain themselves. And one of society's really great pains is to be seen as an oddball, is to not fit in. And so they're willing to be an oddball, to be seen as not fitting in. So, you know, so the people who are in pain within the society can recognize their pain within the Pisces midheaven. And therefore the society will no longer feel so odd and so different and so crazy anymore, because the Pisces midheaven themselves are the oddballs and the crazy ones. And so there's this unity, this unconscious, collective, unconscious unity that exists between the two. So therefore I would definitely sort the Pisces midheaven into the Ravenclaw house, because of everything that I've mentioned about Ravenclaws, you know, being the oddball just because they're searching for the truth, and, you know, empowering other people to be themselves, to let their freak flag fly, and to be as crazy as they need to be, because that's just who you are, and you gotta be that. So guys, that's it. That's my take on sorting the zodiac signs into each of the houses. So do comment below what your sun and midheaven are, and then which houses were you sorted into, and do you think that kind of resonates with you? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below if you haven't. If you have, then thank you very much for coming along. And I'll see you soon, guys. Bye! Happy holidays!